So welcome everyone to the webinar, How to Create a Vision Board That Will Propel Your Dreams to Reality. I'm your host, Lara Young. Just while we wait for people to join in the webinar, I see some people are already joining in now. We've got Mary from New Zealand. Hi, Mary. Jane from Sydney. Petra from Cambridge in the UK. It's a bit late for you there, Petra, so thank you very much for joining us. And Laura in New York, I can see that you've just arrived as well. So as you come in, just feel free to introduce yourselves, where you're from, and also take some time to answer the questions in the poll in the chat box. Just while we wait for everyone to join us, just asking you whether or not you've created a vision board before. Simple answer, yes or no. And just to note that I'm happy to answer any questions at the end. Just post them up in the chat box and then they'll be there so that I can respond to you at the end of this presentation. It's now top of the hour, so let's get started. So look, my name's Lara Young, as I've said, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm really passionate about helping people to achieve their personal and professional potential. And where that stemmed from is that I've had over 20 years experience as a coach, a course designer and a facilitator, both in the corporate and the personal development arenas. I spent a long time early in my career working in human resources and in particular in learning and development arena, and really helping to develop programs that would engender talent, great leadership practices, but most importantly, really identify what it is that helps people to succeed in whatever it is that they're doing. And so my last job in Australia, before I moved to the UK in 2002, was as the National Change Manager for an organisation, and that was a joint venture organisation. And, you know, that was really interesting as well, helping to guide people through that change process, not just in terms of the physical changes that were taking place in terms of the difference in the working practices, etc., but also in helping them to really deal with the changes that were happening for them personally as well. So I moved to the UK in 2002 and I spent 12 years over there. And initially I was working for a human resource consulting company called Mercer Human Resources, and then went into senior HR director roles, leadership development roles, that kind of thing. And they were global roles. And I really enjoyed my time doing that, got to travel a lot. I took a job working for someone who I really thought would be a wonderful mentor for me, and it was great. It was a wonderful role, an international role, and looking at really developing people, leadership development particularly, talent management. And I was all excited because I knew this chap was just so great at what he did, and I was really ready at that point in my career to have someone who was going to be a wonderful mentor for me. And I'd had great mentors in the past, certainly, but the time just felt right. And it was interesting because literally 6 months into that role, I went over to the US for a development meeting and a planning meeting. And this chap, who I had so much respect for and admiration for, said that he was resigning. And at that point, I had a choice in my life whether or not I was going to continue on, and there was an opportunity, obviously, to continue on in the job that I've been doing, or to actually take a chance, take a risk, and step out into doing something on my own. And so that's when I took the decision that I would start my own consultancy business. And it was really interesting because I had a 3-month notice period, and I was busy getting all my ducks in a row during that time, obviously wrapping things up to leave that organisation while still focusing on developing my own business. And for some reason, I wasn't really worried about what would happen. And on the Friday that I had my leaving drinks, I was at Canary Wharf in London. Some of you may know it. at a bar having my leaving drinks, and I overheard a conversation of a group of people behind me, and they were talking about the fact that they needed someone to come in and develop a performance management and reward system in their organisation. And I said, look, I can do that. And I got the contact details, and long story short, but a long process later of, you know, various tenders and meetings, I actually won the contract to do that job, and that was with the O2 Arena in London there. And from there, really, I got a lot of work, just word of mouth, you know, a lot of work coaching, HR director type roles, establishing talent and leadership programs, and that was across the world as well. So in the UK, USA, Europe and Asia. Got to meet some fantastic people and do some wonderful things. And at the same time, as I had set up my own consultancy business, I also set up Design Your Fabulous Future. And Design Your Fabulous Future is really a business that is about, it's more on the personal development side, but obviously there's professional development in there as well. And that enabled me to do something that I really love, which is running retreats. So I started running retreats across the UK and also in Portugal and Spain, and also coaching clients one-on-one. And what I realised was that as I was running these retreats, I was paying for these lovely houses in wonderful locations, and the money that I was spending on doing that, I could actually rent the house full time, so live in one of these houses, and the same price for a weekend was what it was going to cost me. So I actually made the decision then to move out of London and to move into a country house. And I moved into a place called Vale House in the Vale of Belvoir, which is in Leicestershire in the UK. And it's at the foot of Belvoir Castle. And there's a little tiny picture of Belvoir Castle there on this very busy slide. And at the time it was a family home, and over the course of a few years created a 5-star guest house there, and started running creative writing courses as well as retreats, and obviously still doing consultancy. And I have a real love of cookery, so running cookery courses there as well. Also made a foray into running fitness boot camps because he had this wonderful house, great accommodation, and you know, there was real scope there for people to come and enjoy a relaxed environment and get fit at the same time. And I was running the mind connection, I guess, in terms of those boot camps. So I was coaching people. People would have coaching sessions with me and group sessions, etc. at the same time. I also started cooking on the radio. I know that sounds strange, but I was on BBC Radio Leicester on a show called Food Friday, where I would cook. The presenter would come to my house and I'd make lots of noise, breaking eggs and whisking and things like that. And I also became a judge on the British Pie Awards, and you may be able to see the picture there of me and my friend Diane at the Pie Awards. And it sounds really fantastic and glamorous, but sometimes I think if I ever see a chicken and mushroom pie again, I'm going to run miles in the other direction. And because I was really interested in food as well, I also set up something called Graze the Vale, which is a food event in the Vale of Belvoir. It's an annual event where people get to showcase their produce. So I'd done all these things, and we actually won the Leicestershire's Best Accommodation Provider in 2013. So lots was happening. My life very, very diverse in terms of everything that was going on. And in the background, something very important was happening for me personally as well. Some of you may know that I am a mother. I've always wanted to be a mother. And I came by that process in a slightly different route to a lot of people, in that I went down the adoption route. So in October of 2012, I started the adoption process. And in November 2013, my first daughter came to live with me and join my family at 18 months. And then in February, my second daughter, of February of 2014, 14, my second daughter came, and she was 12 weeks at the time. So I was actually a mother of 2 children under 2. And a lot of people said to me, you know, be careful what you wish for. And I said, I am. And what I mean by that is I am very much a person who will set an intention out there, set a goal, know what I want in life, really define that and understand it and have passion about it. And then it will come into being. So it goes out and it happens. So what's all this got to do with vision boards? Well, everything that I've shared with you is represented in one or more of my own vision boards. And I'm a little bit of a hoarder, I'll have to admit that. And I actually really love, it's like when you look back at old journals, I really love looking back at my old vision boards, because it's interesting. Sometimes what happens when you do that is you've forgotten how much you've achieved and how everything that you've wanted has just come into being. Sometimes not exactly in the way that you might have initially visualized it or intended it, but something better. And that's the wonder and the magic of actually having this, going through this process and really fine-tuning and getting into the feeling of what you want more of in your life. So in this workshop, we're going to cover what is a vision board, how to create a vision board from a blank canvas to an artwork that you'll be inspired by every day, which vision board creation process is right for you, and there is more than one, the #1 secret to bringing your vision board to life, daily practices that hyper accelerate your dreams to becoming reality, and I just love that, hyper accelerate them. So firstly, let's begin. What is a vision board? So a vision board is a visual representation of what you want to do, be, or have in your life. It brings your goals and dreams to life. It can be pictures, words, objects, scents, and textures. And it's an inspirational artwork reflecting your inner desires. It's 3-dimensional. And by that I mean it's meant to be experienced and not just looked at. And that's going to be really critical as we go through this session today and we look at hyper accelerating our dreams into reality. So let's look now, I guess the first part of this session is about how do you create a vision board. So let's get started on that element. So there are lots of different ways, lots of different creative processes, and lots of different ways to approach it. There is no right or wrong way. It's created by you and for you. It's a theme that emerges as you're gathering materials. So sometimes what happens is that as you're collecting what's going to go on your vision board, you may start to see some themes emerging. Now they could be certain words or of the year or of the season that are resonating. It could be colours that are resonating. It could be core values or beliefs, or simply feelings that you really want to experience more of. There are lots of different values and beliefs that we have, and there's a table up there for you. So these are often words that we associate with our word of the year, and by that I mean it's one word that might encapsulate everything that you want to do, be, and have, what you want to have more of in your life. So there's things like clarity, enthusiasm, perhaps you want to have more positivity, or maybe this is your year for growth. So that's just one way to go about thinking about the general theme for your vision board. Now, another way to think about it is that it can be a direct reflection of your conscious goals. So if, for example, you want to travel to Italy, you might put a picture of the word Italy and pictures of things to do with Italy, Leaning Tower of Pisa. You might have pictures of Florence or bowls of spaghetti or whatever it might be. Now, the reason that I put or not down there as well is because sometimes we're not really aware of what some of our innermost desires are. And so through the creative process, we may find ourselves putting pictures out, words out, that on face value we think, well, what's that got to do with anything? And what I encourage you to do is just to still keep them by you, keep them by, because you're being attracted to those things for a reason. Another way to think about the creative process is that you can create a vision board that is related to one or more areas of your life or all areas of your life, or you can divide your vision board up into sections so that you might have a section for your lifestyle, your home environment, that kind of thing, one for your relationships, one for your health and well-being, one for your financial goals, etc. The ultimate thing is, because it is such a wonderful creative process, be surprised, you know, and get started. It's by you and for you. There's no right or wrong. It doesn't have to be perfect in anyone else's eyes. It just has to really sing for you. So another thing to think about when you are creating your vision board is, are you going to create it in solitude or with friends? I like to have a vision boarding party and, you know, maybe have an afternoon tea or get some beers. In fact, the picture there is of a retreat where we're just having a chat about vision boards. So that's me in the green cardigan at the front there. And that was a really, really fun day, the vision boarding day of that retreat, or the vision boarding session. It's really important as well that you have appropriate music. And if you're having a party, invite people to bring along different CDs and songs that create a great mood for vision boarding. Sometimes people like to think during the collection phase, when you're gathering your materials, it can be, you know, sort of more uplifting music. And then when you're actually having the sticking session and putting it all together, you know, maybe you change it up a bit, change the vibe. Use scents as well. It's wonderful to create a sensory experience and a sensory environment. Now, there's lots of materials that you can use. Obviously, you can see by the list there that really what this webinar is focusing on is physical vision boards. So not those that you create on Pinterest or in PowerPoint or what have you. So, but obviously they're great. If you want to have one that you have as a screensaver, fantastic. It's a great little prompt each day. But this is talking about if you want to create a physical artwork that's in your room. So you'll need some blank cardboard or canvas. A corkboard works well. Ribbon, buttons, glue or glue gun. You know, some stamps, so they might be letter stamps, so you can actually take those little stamps and stamp out on different bits of paper some words and affirmations that you really like. They could be stickers. If you go to these big craft shops, you can find amazing stickers with inspirational words on them, or it just adds a different dimension. Different types of paper, different textures, you know, lightweight paper. You can get some really gorgeous stationery these days. Maybe you've saved some tissue paper from, you know, parties or birthdays or what have you. You need some paint, perhaps some pencils and pens. Glitter is great as well, and a bit of shine and sparkle. I'm a big fan of sparkle. And obviously you'll need refreshments to keep you going. And the magazines there also are key. And if you're having a party, it's great just to ask people to bring different magazines along so that you can all share in the process. So what is the process? Got a photo there of cutting out and some teacups and things. You can see there's different materials there. So the first step is to gather all your materials, your pictures, your words, your phrases, perfumes, song lyrics, for example, that you're going to include in your vision board. And as you gather, focus on what feels right for you. Use scissors or go for the handcrafted look and just rip them straight out. Sometimes just tearing something, you know, little tears can create a really nice effect around the borders or the edges of each element. The next step, step 2, is to select the elements that you feel are important to include on your vision board. And I call these your vision board vitals. So as you go through and select various bits and pieces, you'll have things that actually are must-haves. And so you sift through, and there's a picture of me just sifting through some of the different words and phrases that I collected for that particular vision board. Step 3 is to lay out your canvas and start placing your vision board vitals down. You can either glue them as you go or create a draft. So I find that when I'm running vision board workshops in person and at retreats, some people like to be very precise about how things are and everything, and other people just get into a zone where they're like, I'm going to put it all down and see what is created through this process. And once you've done that, fill in the gaps, and you can use colour, contrast and placement to bring your vision board or artwork to life. So sometimes you'll find you've got little words that'll fit in a gap, or you can create some if you've got a stamp. You know, you can use a pencil and just put some water over it so it's a nice little watercolour effect. There's so much you can do actually in terms of being creative, and the sky really is the limit. Now, I always like to go that little step further and add some special touches. So I love the fact that, you know, you might start out with a blank piece of card, but you can fold it, you can create doors so that it opens. It really can be, you know, three-dimensional in that sense. I like to use cutouts so you can perforate the edges. And I also tend to include a few dangly bits. So what I do is I punch a hole, and then I might, in the bottom or the side of the vision board, and then I might create something that I'm going to tie on. And that's really useful if you've got little affirmations or words, or even small objects that you really, you know, that you really love and you want to attract more of into your life. So it might be a piece of jewelry, or, for example, recently I found these gorgeous heart-shaped buttons, and they're lovely just to tie on to the end of the bottom of the vision board. And the important thing here is that a vision board is all about helping you to feel good, feel great, feel fantastic. And so include fun elements that will make you feel great and make you smile. You know, I like to include things that have a personal significance just for me, so that even if someone else sees my vision board, they may not necessarily know what that element is referring to. Now, step 5 is to glue everything into place. A glue gun comes into its own here, and they're really fun having a glue gun, let me tell you, and they're not expensive in craft shops. And they're really important, especially if you do want to add things like buttons or feathers or things like that, because they really make sure that everything sticks well. Let everything dry, hang your vision board where you will most enjoy it each day. Now, you'd think at this point you could sit back and have a cup of tea as I'm doing this photo and just relax and look at your vision board and think, wow, what a great job I've done. Isn't it beautiful? But actually, we're not quite finished, because can you visualize all the pictures in your home? When was the last time you really looked at them? Because remember, a vision board isn't just a collection of paper and glue. It's just the beginning. Your vision board is a representation of all that you want to do, be, and have in your life. You've set your intention by creating the vision board. Now let's breathe some life into it and then let it go. So the secret is that creating a vision board is not about a picture or a set of words and phrases. It's actually about the feelings they engender. As you're creating your vision board, think about, how do you want to feel? What do you want? What do you really want in your life? And for what purpose? Ask yourself the question, why, why, why? So what do I mean by that? When we set goals or we have dreams, the first thing we start to think to ourselves is, what do I want? And that's great, you know, to think about what you want in terms of a goal or a dream. And getting that clarity is so important. And in fact, a lot of people don't have that clarity. And I'm going to talk to you about something for that a little bit later on. I've got some great blog posts coming up and a video series on getting clarity. But the thing is that it's not about the goal often. It's not about having or doing or being something. It's actually, why do we want to have that? And there's always a higher level. There's always a higher purpose for why we want X in our lives. So for example, if your goal was to, let's take a financial goal, for example, just for simplicity and ease. If your goal was to earn X amount in a year, then, you know, That's a goal. However, is it going to motivate you? And the motivating factors are really about what do you want it for? And earning that amount of money, X, means different things to different people. So if I said to you, for what purpose? So that I can live comfortably. For what purpose? So I can feel free, so I have a sense of freedom. And that's the key, is actually getting to what it is that you want from a values perspective, what it is you want from an emotional perspective. I want a sense of freedom. And for someone else, it might be, I want to be able to have a sense of generosity. I want to be able to give to others. So it's really about tapping into what's underlying it, for what purpose, the why of what you want, and that will really help to motivate you. And it can also really help you to identify your word of the year, or the words that you're going to put on your vision board as well. Go into this activity in a lot more detail in the Your Life, Your Way program, but just for now, it's about thinking about, if I want this, why do I want it? Why is it important for me? And keep asking yourself that question. So my key tips for propelling your dreams to reality are that you need to be flexible and be specific. So those two sound a bit counterintuitive. What do I mean by that? Well, a picture of a beach could be any beach. So when you set out an intention to the universe, for example, I would like to live by the seaside, and you put a picture of the seaside on your vision board, then you need to be flexible about how that happens and how that manifests itself. Sometimes we can be so wedded to the specific intention that we set out that we fail to recognize when other things are delivered. And the phrase is that this is, or something better is coming my way. If you want a specific car, then you are being specific, aren't you? So if you wanted the latest Mini Coupe, or if you wanted a 1977 Cheltenham Springbok, then obviously that's a specific make or model that you're looking for. I think it's really important to be flexible about the income, about the outcome. Be flexible about the outcome. Because if you want to be on a beach and you're sitting on a beach, then your outcome has been met. It doesn't matter if that beach is in Australia or in Spain or in Greece or in wherever it might be. The important thing here is, as well, is to focus on what you want and how you want to feel. And again, that lovely intention is, this or something better is coming my way. And as you put each picture, as you put each word down, this is a lovely affirmation to say, this or something better is coming my way. And it allows the process to happen. It allows you to set your intention out there and to set it free. So the next step is to look at breathing life into your vision board. Again, it's not just a collection of words and paper and glue. It's actually how you want to feel, how you want to be. So get into the emotion and feel the feelings. If we're talking about being on the beach, imagine yourself doing, being, and having each individual element. Feel the sand between your toes. Hear the sound of the waves and smell the ocean. Say the words that you've included. Repeat the affirmations and feel what they mean to you. So if you've got some affirmations included, even just the word Italy is so evocative, and it will mean different things to different people. If you've got Italy on your board, again, just an example, you may then, you can create a whole experience about being in Italy. The smells, the sights, the sounds, the food, the wine, everything. And just really embrace all of those things. Experience those positive emotions that your vision board brings. The key is that you're rehearsing the reality. So as you rehearse the reality of that being part of your existence, of that coming into being and into fruition, you become a vibrational match in terms of law of attraction for what you want. So you're sending out the vibration to attract more of that to you. And I love to talk about what I call positive emotion bundling. So as you're going through your vision board, you're really accelerating everything because you are feeling these positive emotions of what it will be like to have, do, or be everything that you've got there. And that feeling of positive intention and wonder and joy and abundance and all those wonderful feelings bundled together. And they're such a powerful force. And hold those within you as you look at your vision board, as you experience it, as you take the pictures and words and really bring them to life. That really, for me, is absolutely the key to having a vision board that will propel your dreams into reality. Not just about putting it away in a drawer and forgetting about it. It's actually about breathing life into it. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to look at it every day, because sometimes some of the best surprises are that when we haven't seen it for, a week or so, or even a couple of months, and we pull it out and we think, oh my gosh, I don't remember putting that on, but look what's happened in my life. What a wonderful surprise that is. Recognition that your intention is being brought into being. So the keys are: make it a three-dimensional experience. And I don't just mean physical three-dimensional if you've decided to add doors or dangly bits. What I mean is add that emotion, add that rehearsal of reality into it. Practice gratitude daily. I'm doing something on the Design Your Fabulous Future Facebook page at the moment and on Twitter, which is 365 Days of Gratitude. Join me. All I do each day is I have a gratitude practice, and I'll be doing another video and webinar on that. And that is basically each day I write down 10 things in the morning that I'm really grateful for. And I put one of them up on the Design Your Fabulous Future Facebook page. And I'm using pictures at the moment as well as words to share those. So if you haven't already seen what's been posted up before, head over there and take a look. The other thing is to let it go and let it flow. So what a vision board is not, it's not something for you to hang up and then walk past 10 times a day and go, it hasn't happened yet, it hasn't happened yet, what's happening, it hasn't happened yet. It is actually about something that's going to inspire and bring that emotional, happy emotional bundling to you. So, it is about letting it go as well and just going about your daily life, obviously taking action towards your goals, but really just going through the experience and all the wonderful opportunities that life has to offer. And I think the key is really getting clear about what you want in all the areas of life, and importantly, how you want to feel as well, which obviously, as I've talked about, a vision board is really good for. So the why begins with the what. What do I mean by that? I think how you feel, what's your purpose, what are your values, why do you want something? It all begins with understanding what you want. And I know that in my 20 plus years of coaching, one of the most common frustrations is that I don't know what I want. Everyone else does, but not me. Everyone else seems to know what they want. They know what they want out of life. They write their goals. They go and, they take action towards them. They manifest things all the time. But I'm stuck at step one, which is actually knowing what I want out of life. And I'm really focused on helping people to clarify that. I think clarity is just so important. In fact, I don't just think it, I know clarity is really important. And that's clarity about what you want, not what perhaps other people, want for you, or what you think you should want, or any of those things. It's actually integral truth. What do I want to do, be, and have in my life? So I've got some great things available. I've got a free 3-part video series and blog posts coming up in the next couple of weeks about defining what you want, getting clarity, what to do if you get stuck, all those great things. And I've also created the Your Life, Your Way program to help women really get clarity about what they want out of life. And Your Life, Your Way is 6 weeks. There's an online classroom and there's weekly group coaching calls to make sure that you are really crystal clear about what you want. So each day There's a variety of activities posted up, and we focus on 6 different areas of your life over the 6 weeks. It all follows the same format. So on Mondays, you know, there's an introduction. We start to understand what we mean by different areas. So, for example, there's lifestyle, there's money, there's work, there's love and relationships, there's self-development, and there's health and well-being. So we look at each of those different areas, and through a process that we go through each week, you'll have a series of exercises that build upon each other, so that by the Sunday, the end of the week, you'll have clarity around that area of your life. And you'll also have some action steps to take as well. It's really fun, and really it's quite an inspiring program, and quite incisive and insightful. Actually, I've got a special offer that is on for this webinar, and it is an early bird offer. It's normally $297 the program. So for participants on this webinar, it will be $197 for the enrolment in that program. So check it out if you'd like to. There's much more information on the website at Design Your Fabulous Future under the Your Life Your Way program. Lots of detail about what's involved in that. And those, as I say, those weekly group coaching calls are really great as well, because you get the community and bounce ideas around and things like that. So what's next? Well, I think what's next is, if you haven't already started, is to plan really when you're going to create your vision board. So make sure that it's visible, and it's visible because it's your inspiration. You know, you want to be able to look at it and feel it, and think about that reality that you are creating, those intentions that you have, that you're bringing into your life. Your vision board is also your voice. This is really key for me. You know, it's you speaking your truth. It's your desires. It's what you want. Your vision board is your volition. It's your action. What are you going to do? What things can you take action around as well? And you will start to actually notice different opportunities. The more clear you get and the clarity that you have around what you want, you will start to notice opportunities about what's happening in your life, and you know, how you actually, you know, how you are in life, and what potential things that you can do. Take Italy, for example. If you're planning a trip for Italy, you may suddenly notice that a flyer comes through your door, or there's a notice in the local coffee shop about conversational Italian classes. Your vision board is also your veracity. It's your truth. It is what is right and real for you. It's not about anyone else. It's about you and what you want. So I really encourage you to be a vision boarding vixen. Please feel free to share your vision board at our Facebook page, which is Design Your Fabulous Future, facebook.com, Design Your Fabulous Future. And now I'd just like to know, what questions can I answer for you, please? So let's just see what questions we have coming through now. Okay. So, Mary's asking, how long does the process take? That's a great question, Mary. The vision boarding process can take as long as you want it to take. And I know that sounds a little bit like a cop-out, but it really can. I'm constantly on the lookout, or paying attention to things that I can include on a vision board, because, you know, just as you're going through daily life, you may see something that you really, really love, and you think, actually, next time I create a vision board, I'm going to include that. So I start collecting things. For example, about a month ago, I found a butterfly wing, and butterflies have a really special significance for me. So I actually collected that, popped it in a plastic sleeve, and then now I've got it for creating my vision board. Generally though, if you sit down in an environment with people, you do need a good 2 or 3 hours. because you want it to be a relaxing experience and a joyful experience and a fun experience if you're with other people. And even if you're with yourself, you do really want to have that time for reflection. You know, we're all busy people, so if you can only carve out a certain amount of time for yourself, feel free to, you know, engage in the process over a series of days or over a series of sessions. So you could, for example, start creating a vision board, you know, one afternoon, just collecting bits and pieces, and then the next day maybe lay them out, and the next day, you know, stick them on and create. So, you know, it's basically up to you how long that process takes, but however long you take, enjoy it, and it's exactly right for you. So Liz is asking, in addition to how important, fabulous presentation, thank you. So in addition, how important is it to create step-by-step goals for the main things you want to bring into your world? Okay, so Liz, I would say that these almost are two separate things. When if you create goals for what you want to achieve, that's kind of the process of saying, here's my first action step towards achieving my goal. Here's what I want. Here are my action steps. The vision board is the manifestation of that goal come true. So they work hand in hand. Your vision board is your inspiration, and your goals are actually your journey, your conscious plan to actually achieve what you want. So I think it is important to have goals for the things that you want to bring into your world, and to have them broken down into actionable steps. One of the things I find with my coaching clients is that they can get into overwhelm. If they have big goals, they can't break them down, and then it gets frustrating and they can't see how they're going to achieve them. So it's really a lovely partnership, Liz, between here's my vision, here's what I want to achieve, here's my goal. Let's use Italy again. Here's my goal, trip to Italy, exploring, you know, some of the key cities, some of the major cities. Then obviously when you have your action plan, that's on your vision board represented. Then when you have your action plan, there is things that you can start to do. So research trips to Italy, take some Italian conversation classes, start building your Italian fund, book flights, all those kind of things. So yeah, that's a really great question. Thank you, Liz. And yeah, it is really important to have a couple of things going hand in hand. Sue's asking, should I get magazines that have the themes I want in them, or should they be random? Should the images just jump out at you? Sue, again, what a fantastic question. Thank you. The answer to that is, I think random's great. And when I posted up that picture of the various magazines that I had, and they're basically a selection from, you know, women's daily, weekly magazines, which I tend to find they're great for titles, words, bright colours, etc. I love magazines like daily, like the Lonely Planet magazine is quite good. The paper texture is really nice in that. And, you know, you can find some things in there. I found this magazine called Flow, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's got different papers in there. It's got lots of inspiration itself. There are inspirational magazines, like Psychology's magazine is quite good as well, for particularly for the words and phrases around personal development. You know what, I've also found things like hardware store catalogues, IKEA catalogues, those kind of things can be really useful. Your local supermarket magazines, Boots in the UK, The Chemist has a free magazine. So it doesn't really matter. The idea is that sometimes what I find happens is that if you set out with the intention of finding a picture of a frog, you may not find a picture of a frog, but you will find other things, and then ultimately that picture of a frog will jump out at you. It's really about having that randomness, and I like that word, you know, that randomness, because that's letting our unconscious desires come forward as well. So as we're attracted to pictures and objects. So that's a really great question. Okay, so some good questions coming through there, and I really hope that you have enjoyed this presentation. Please come in, feel free to join in the Facebook community. I'll just pop that up on the, I'll just see if I can pop that up now so that you can see it. Just let me work out how I'm going to do that one. I just want to give you the URL for the Facebook page because there's lots of different things there. I can't seem to see it. Oh, here we go. I'll just give you a, this is just going to redirect you in a new tab so that you can see the Facebook page. So you can jump over there. Also, I will be emailing out a replay of this webinar along with your vision boarding guide, which is a great just a handy reference of all the things that you'll need. It covers a lot of what we've talked about today. Also, stay tuned because I am going to be running a video series on getting clarity, and a whole lot of other great things are going to be happening as well. So really enjoyed this chat today. I'm feeling really excited and inspired because now I'm going to go and create my vision board. I've set aside this afternoon to be able to do that. So I'm really excited about it. Thank you very much again for your attention, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you again sometime soon. Bye.